Okay, so let's try and put what we saw in that previous slide kind of together with some things that we can maybe infer from a graph and some rules that they give us. And this is tricky. This takes practice to be able to do some stuff like this. But let's connect a graph of a function with a graph of its derivative. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're told to sketch a graph with the following properties. Number one, that the function at 0 is 0. That the graph of f prime, the derivative of f, is shown at the right. So we've got this graph. And then we want to show that f is continuous for every value of x. So they give us a few rules to work with. Well, one of the things that we know right off the bat is that I'm going to cross through the origin at 0, 0. How do I know that? Because this guy right here tells me that my function when x is 0 has a y coordinate of 0. That's all I know. Then it says the graph of the derivative is shown at the right. So my derivative is this piecewise guy, and I'm going to guess, even though we can't see it, it's going to look something like this. Okay, so we've got this thing, and remember, if this is the derivative, everywhere that the derivative is below the y-axis is a place where we have a negative slope. Okay, and it's constant. So the slope is constant, and that slope is constant at y equals -1. That means the slope of my function, when I look at the derivative, is -1. So when I graph the bottom y value, I'm going to have a slope of -1. So I'm going to graph something like this. Okay, and then not only do I have that graph, it continues all the way to this point. And then what happens at this point? All my slopes now become positive. And how are they positive? They're positive up here. And if you'll notice, this is going to be the line y equals 2. So what does that mean? That means that from this point right here, I'm going to rise 2 and run 1. So I'm going to have a steeper side on this guy. And it's going to look something like this. So this would be a graph that could represent, I'll trace over it in red here, try and make it stand out since everything's in purple. So it could look something like this. Will it look exactly like this? We don't know. We would need a little bit more information. But this is definitely a possibility.